The winter sun was setting over the snowy outskirts of Moscow, painting the streets in hues of gray and amber. A small roadside cafeteria stood near the frozen highway, its windows fogged from the warmth inside. The smell of borscht, black coffee, and baked bread filled the air as travelers stopped by to escape the biting cold. At one corner table sat a group of Russian bikers, members of the Iron Wolves motorcycle club. Their heavy leather jackets and deep voices drew cautious glances from other patrons, but no one dared to say a word. Among the quiet hum of conversation sat a young girl, barely 16. Her name was Anya, a frail figure with tear-stained cheeks and trembling fingers clutching a worn school bag. She had been sitting there for hours, staring at the steam rising from her untouched cup of tea. Her red eyes told a story of pain far beyond her years. The waitress had tried speaking to her, but Anya barely responded. When Victor, the leader of the Iron Wolves, noticed her, something in her expression caught his attention. He had seen fear before, in bar fights, on battlefields, in broken lives, but never this kind of quiet, desperate fear. He leaned toward the waitress. "That girl," he asked softly, "she okay?" The waitress shook her head. "She came in this morning, says she's waiting for her mother." "But no one's come." Victor frowned. He wasn't the kind of man who got involved in strangers' business. Yet something about the girl's stillness gnawed at him. He rose from his chair, his boots heavy against the tiled floor, and walked over. "Hey," he said gently, his deep voice calm but firm. "You been here all day, huh?" Anya looked up, startled, and quickly wiped her tears. "I'm just waiting," she whispered. "My mom's coming." Victor nodded slowly. "All right. You want something to eat?" She shook her head. Her fingers fidgeted around the strap of her bag. Something wasn't right, but Victor didn't push her. He returned to his table, though his mind stayed on the trembling girl. Moments later, the waitress appeared again, handing him a folded napkin. "She said to give you this," she murmured. Victor unfolded the napkin, expecting a simple thank you. But what he read made his blood run cold. The words, written in shaky, desperate handwriting, read, "Please help me. My stepfather will be here soon. He hurts me every day. Don't let him take me." For a moment, the noise of the cafe faded into silence. Victor stared at the note, his jaw tightening. He looked toward the girl, her eyes downcast, her hands trembling. He stood up slowly, signaling to his brothers. The bikers noticed the change in his face and fell silent. Without a word, Victor folded the napkin, tucked it into his jacket, and whispered, "Brothers, we've got a situation." Outside, the snow continued to fall, quiet, cold, and endless, as inside, the Iron Wolves prepared to protect a stranger. The bell above the cafeteria door jingled harshly, slicing through the tense silence. A tall man in a heavy, fur-lined coat stomped inside, his boots dripping melted snow onto the floor. His face was red from alcohol, his eyes sharp and filled with anger. The waitress froze mid-step. Anya's hands tightened around her school bag, her body trembling as if every nerve inside her screamed in warning. "Anya!" the man bellowed, his voice echoing across the room. "Get over here now!" Every head turned. Victor and his men stopped eating. The air in the small cafe thickened with unease. Anya shrank back into the corner, whispering, "Please, don't let him take me." The man's gaze fell on Victor and the other bikers. "She's my daughter," he growled. "This is none of your business." Victor rose slowly, his towering frame casting a shadow over the man. His leather jacket creaked as he crossed his arms, his cold blue eyes locking onto the drunk's face. "She says you hurt her," Victor said in a deep, steady voice. The stepfather's sneer twisted. "You don't know what you're talking about. She lies." "She." Before he could finish, one of the Iron Wolves, a massive man named Sergei, stepped forward. He quietly closed the cafe door, turning the lock. The rest of the bikers stood up, their jackets displaying the snarling wolf emblem across their backs. The room went silent except for the faint hum of the heater and the wind howling outside. "You're not taking her anywhere," Victor said flatly. The man laughed bitterly. What are you going to do? Fight me? He lunged forward, trying to grab Anya's arm. Victor moved faster than anyone expected. He seized the man by the wrist, twisting it until the drunk howled in pain, then slammed him against the wall with a single motion. Plates rattled on the tables. "You touch her again," Victor said through gritted teeth, his voice low and dangerous. "And I'll make sure you never raise your hand to anyone again." The man struggled, but couldn't break free. Victor's strength was unshakable, fueled not by rage but by justice. The waitress quickly grabbed the phone and called the police. Minutes later, blue lights flashed outside, painting the snow in shades of red and blue. 2 officers stepped in, recognizing Victor immediately. The Iron Wolves were infamous in the region. Victor raised his hands slightly. "He's yours," he said, pushing the man toward them. "The girl's been hurt. Make sure she's safe." The officers nodded and led the man out, still cursing and shouting as the door shut behind him. Anya stood silently, tears streaming down her face. Victor knelt down, resting a heavy hand on her shoulder. "You're safe now, little one," he said gently. "No one's taking you tonight." Later, as the Iron Wolves rode through the snowy night, their headlights cutting through the fog, Victor looked back at the warm glow of the café. The note in his pocket reminded him that sometimes fate led them not to trouble, but to a reason to do what was right. That night, the Iron Wolves weren't outlaws. They were guardians of a broken girl in a cold, unforgiving world.